What if you found yourself in the heart of New York City, homeless, with news that your mother, the one person who means the world to you, is lying on a hospital bed in California, clinging to life? And you, with not a penny to your name, have to get to her side as soon as possible. This is the story of a 17-year-old boy who, despite knowing nothing about traveling, decided to hitchhike across the United States. The urgency of the situation didn't allow him the luxury of waiting for the break of dawn. So, under the cover of the night, he set out on his journey. Serendipity smiled on him when a kind old lady at the service station offered him a ride. But his luck ran out when she dropped him off on a remote road in the mountains of Pennsylvania. Imagine standing alone in the pitch-black darkness, the eerie howls from the surrounding bushes your only company. An hour passed, and just as hope was starting to wane, a car pulled up. Relief washed over him until he saw that it was a dark black hearse. His instincts screamed at him to stay away, but the menacing howls from the wilderness left him with no choice. Inside the hearse was a man clad in black, his eyes a piercing red. The man's silence was unsettling, and his refusal to engage in any conversation only amplified the boy's fears. A sense of dread filled the air when the man declared he was not driving towards California, but to a castle on a hill. A wave of panic swept over the boy, but the doors were locked and the hearse sped on. The car veered off the highway onto a dirt road, illuminated only by the pale glow of the moon. It came to a halt at the foot of a hill below a looming castle. The man turned, his dark red eyes gleaming in the moonlight, and announced, "You're coming with me to my castle." Before the boy could protest, a syringe plunged into his arm, a sleeping solution sending him spiraling into unconsciousness. When he woke up, he was in a dank spiderweb-infested dungeon chained to the wall. His cries for help echoed through the castle, but no one came. Then a sound. The dragging of something heavy grew closer and closer. The door creaked open and the man entered. He ripped the boy from the wall and dragged him into a dark room. "I'm going to feed you to my monster," he declared. The boy pleaded, his words falling on deaf ears. The man just grinned, his red eyes gleaming in anticipation. What happens next, you ask? Well, that's a story for another time.
The boy pleaded with the evil man as he screamed, "Could he please let me go?" And the man said, "No, I took all this time capturing you, and I need to feed you to my monster. He hasn't eaten in a week." The boy said, "No, I can't be fed to your monster. What's wrong with you? Are you crazy? I want to go. I must go. I have an emergency. My mother is in the hospital and she needs me. Please let me go." After a major fight with the evil man in the hallway, the boy escaped. He ran down the hall and he saw a door that was open and he ran through it. The boy's name is John. His father's name is John too. And his mother wanted two Johns in her life. This was how John got his name. John ran outside of the castle. John saw the path that he had been dragged through to get to the castle. John ran and ran. He ran down the road and managed to get to the main highway, where John saw a car coming and he flagged the car down and the car stopped. The car whisked away quickly. John thanked the driver for stopping for him. John was now sitting in the car looking at the driver and noticed that this driver looked just like the previous driver that had picked him up before. Continue thinking to himself, could this be another lunatic? John thought to himself, this could not be right. I could not have ran into another lunatic. He thought himself, maybe I should talk to this guy, maybe he is okay. John decided he would explain what happened to him with other driver, and after telling him the story and thanking the driver for stopping and picking him up on this lonely road in his emergency situation, the driver replied after hearing the story, "You have had a really rough night." The boy responded, "Yes, it was very frightening," and again said, "I'm so happy you stopped for me. I know I'm safe with you." The driver responded, "Well, I'm not sure how safe you are with me. The house that you escaped from belongs to my brother and I have to take you back there." And John heard the car doors lock. "Oh no," John thought to himself, "how could I be in this same situation again?" The driver made a quick U-turn and started to rush back to the castle on the hill where the boy had just escaped from. John struggled with the car door lock and pushed on the driver violently to no avail. The driver did not respond. He continued to drive quickly back to the house, and the driver pulled out a syringe and stuck John within John's arm. John fell into a deep sleep again and once again awoke in the same dark place where he had just escaped from. John was now terrified again as he struggled to get loose from the tight rope. After a few minutes of struggling with the rope was again loose, he then noticed a small white light coming from the corner of the room. He slowly went to the corner to investigate. He found a window covered with wood, and once he removed the wood, he saw some metal bars that were embedded in brick below. John fiercely pulled on the bars, but they did not move. After a few minutes he was able to loosen one of the bars, then he used that bar to remove some bricks. And when the bricks came out, he was able to loosen the other bars, which gave John an opening. This opening allows the John to squeeze through the bars and escape castle. Once outside, John did not recognize his location, so he went around the castle 3 or 4 times see if he could see the path that he had originally escaped from. But he could not find the path that he had escaped from before. Afraid that the gruesome man and his brother who'd again capture him once they discovered his absence from the room, he decided to leave the castle grounds as fast as possible. John decided to go down the backside of the hill, and the story continues.
In the eerie darkness that followed his audacious escape, John found himself helplessly lost in the castle's menacing woodland, consumed by the advancing blackness. He saw himself as a frantic wanderer, desperate to flee from the monstrous, inky forests, his soul aching for a route that would guide him to his sick mother in a hospital in California. His fate seemed to be tangled in an enigmatic labyrinth turns. Embroiled in an everlasting night, ensnared within the cryptic wilderness, he fought relentlessly against his preordained destiny. The moonlight struggles to filter through the dense canopy as John trudges deeper into the unknown. Mysterious sounds and distant howls fill the air, sending shivers down his spine. The woods darken, the path ahead blurs, and the echo of an approaching creature leaves him trembling. John bolts, his every breath ragged, chased by a beast with eyes that gleam a terrifying blood red, its form a monstrous cross between man and wolf. The raw terror of his predicament sinks its claws deep into him as he ascends a tree, his supposed sanctuary. But the creatures they pursue. Above him, a cable catches his eye. Heart pounding, John seizes his chance, swings through the air, barely escaping the outstretched claws of the monstrous pursuers. He lands, miraculously undetected, on another tree. The chase, it seems, continues. A glimmer of hope shines in the form of a shack. Inside, a welcoming old man offers him refuge. John shares his harrowing tale, from the dark castle to the wolf-like creatures. The old man, aware of the dangers lurking in the woods, promises to guide John to the highway come morning. John awakens the next day, disoriented and in a dimly lit room. The sinking feeling of betrayal fills him as he realizes he's back in the dreaded castle. A sharp pain in his neck, his hand smeared with blood, and the ominous entrance of the old man confirm his worst fears. The old man confesses his betrayal. He told John that he had been bitten by a werewolf, and he is now turning into a werewolf, and by nightfall he will be hunting in the woods for food. The old man further revealed his ties to the castle's monstrous inhabitants, and their sinister plan to keep John from revealing their secret. John vehemently refuses to accept his fate, but a sudden bout of sleep overtakes him. He awakens to a horrifying transformation. His feet are covered in fur, his hands are claw-like, and a monstrous hunger gnaws at him. Driven by this new instinct, he ventures out, seizes an animal, and drains its blood in a frenzy. Morning brings a chilling understanding of his new reality. The old man's warning rings true. John is now a nightmarish inhabitant of the castle. His journey to California has taken an unthinkable detour, and his quest to reach his mother is now impossible. John grappled the monstrous acts he committed. The old man's warning echoed in his mind, confirming that he would be one of the castle's nightmarish inhabitants forever. He sadly realized his fate was sealed. The realization dawned upon him that he was trapped.